All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Happy New Year, Jill.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. Hope all went well throughout the crazy holiday season.
It did. It did.
Good. Good.
Another successful Christmas.
Outstanding.
It's a lot of work, man. Like we were talking about this earlier. I had no idea until I got married how much work it was. So,
like on one hand, I'm thankful to be out of the military with my family and living my own life. But on the other hand, being in the military was nice because if you weren't able to go home for the holidays, you had a good reason why you're not coming home. And it was kind of nice, to be honest with you, because you have to worry about anything.
I guess.
Good morning, Nebuchadnezzar. How are you, sir?
Nebuchadnezzar. There you go.
That's a good one. I like it.
Michael, good sir. Happy New Year. Hope everything went well for your holiday season.
Ooh, I just clicked something. It changed things.
That's better.
Did you cut the red wire, Mike? Are we going to blow?
Hello, gentlemen. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All righty. So there is a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff happened within the past few days. It's insane. Sorry I was out last week. But today, my thought process was to really focus the topic on the virtual town square and how that is now becoming a reality. Before we've talked about this, but that was during the dark times. That was during a time when that wasn't possible. Now, I'm going to use topic of the visa, the H-1B visa debate. I'm going to use that as the launching pad into the rise of techno-populism as an actual term that is pretty evident now. And then we'll finish up with scripture. How's that sound?
I'm in.
Awesome. Great. All right. So give me 1 second. I got a video here from my boy, Dr. Steve Turley. Let me bring this up here.
Yeah.
To stage. And I'll just play a few minutes of it, and then I'll be up. Here we go.
Here are the facts in all of this. Bottom line, number one, President Trump has always been in favor of legal immigration. There's no way around that. Trump is not siding with Elon Musk in all of that and all of this, as he's been portrayed in the media of doing. He has not changed his position. Trump has always been pro H-1B visa. It's one of the things that used to cause Ann Coulter to flip out over him back in the first term. She hated H-1B visas. So Trump has repeatedly said that he's used H-1B visas for his own hiring, for his own employees throughout Trump enterprises. His concern is entirely illegal immigration, which he's going to shut down completely on day one of his administration. Again, this is so key to understanding the heart of MAGA. MAGA is about shutting down illegal immigration, not necessarily legal immigration. MAGA wants to attract the best and brightest from everywhere, starting here in the United States, America first, and then beyond, which is precisely what H-1B is supposed to be. Prioritize Americans first, and then if you can't find the right workers, then you go beyond. This is where Vivek, his tweet was just, it just didn't read the room. He walked into the wrong bar, as Scott Jennings would say. We want the world's most talented and aspiring members to be a part of the new golden age happening right here. That said, secondly, it's absolutely clear that the H-1B visa system is in need of serious reform. Bottom line, it is broken, or better, corrupted, like everything else in D.C. According to a report by PJ Media, of the 85,000 international applicants to work in the U.S. each year, 84% come from two countries, India and China. 72% from India, 12% from China. So while the visa program is intended to bring in top global talent, in many ways, it's turning out to be little more than a pathetic scheme that allows billionaires and corporations to hire foreign workers at a fraction of the cost of hiring American workers who are just as competent to do the job. And that's the key to understanding the heart of this debate. Both sides can be equally true. The intent of the visa program can be good, all the while its practice can be bad. And that's what Trump actually did in his first term. He resolved that paradox or that contradiction in that he utilized H-1B in its intended form rather than its exploited form, which Biden quickly undid, re-exploiting it, as it were. And that, after all of this online debate, that is precisely where Elon ended up. This is exactly what Elon admitted. Take a look at this headline from the New York Post yesterday. Elon Musk changes his tune on H-1B visas as he tries to cool, we might say quell, raging MAGA civil war over skilled immigration.
Okay, so that's the topic of today. Okay, this is the launching pad for us. Now, I'm not sure if y'all can see it, but that was posted on December 29th, which was Sunday. So we have the topic. We have the issue, the problem, however you want to spin it. Okay. Before, in this previous administration or the current administration, when there was a problem, a topic, an issue to talk about, to passionately debate, could we really do it in this virtual town square? Could we actually openly discuss it? Not really. It was pretty clear the establishment wanted everyone to think a certain way. It was obvious from the executive branch all the way down to legacy media to influencers. Everyone wanted you to think a certain way. And, damn you if you think another way. You were canceled if you had the audacity to have another opinion. But what happened here, gentlemen? When this topic came up, what happened all over social media? You had fierce, passionate debate, discussion, analysis. I can't tell you how many conservative channels I've seen that immediately jumped into the fray, duking it out. So before I go any further, what are y'all's thoughts on that? On the whole idea of having this virtual town square where people can come in and debate?
It's the future. I was talking to Doug TenNapel earlier today, and we were talking about Hollywood and media. And so it's a similar thing where there's a way things used to be, right? There's the way, right? There's the way things are done traditionally, etc. And the way it used to be was somebody had a monopoly, right? Somebody had a stranglehold on the way things were done and what was allowed, right? What was permitted, and so you're talking about this current administration clinging to the past. We have our narrative, and anybody who opposes our narrative is un-American or anti, they're anti-government,
or they're racist,
right? Or they're treasonous, even, right? To oppose Joe Biden's position is you're treasonous against the country because there's only one official narrative, right? That day is long over, and that's why they collapsed. It's why they couldn't put up a fake candidate and fake, write scripts for her and prep her to lead this very this behemoth, the U.S. government. You can't fake it anymore. There's too many people that have access to the facts, right? Your media used to send out camera crews to be the first on the scene. Now you've got a guy rolling out of his bed and looking out the window and hitting record on whatever just happened across the street, and you get instant information. That's the future. So it's beautiful to see this new administration coming in, being able to, that just like when Trump would always tweet, people was like, he shouldn't be tweeting. Well, he's saying what's on his heart instantly. And that we've never had that. That in itself is good, right? We're able to actually get unvarnished. And so that was even though he said and did dumb things, we were actually getting something honest. We knew we were hearing our president's heart rather than some varnished packaged narrative that they're trying to force upon us. So it's a good thing. Yeah, that's my
Joel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of along the same lines. I was just thinking we just heard what probably went on in 1,000 cabinet meetings, in history.
right.
Someone says something, the other one says, no, that's not good. And the other one says, oh, go F yourself in your face. Right.
Yeah.
But we never knew that. So,
Right.
can you imagine Abe Lincoln providing over his cabinet of rivals, right?
Oh my gosh.
One guy.
Oh man.
I don't think Abe would have put up with what Trump is putting up with, but
He didn't. But
for better, for worse, that's what it is. I would differ with Mike on one thing. It's not long over. It's newly over. It's been, and it's still in the process of being over, put it that way. It's not quite over yet. I don't know that we'll see, because this is a very unique moment. And Michael and you and I were talking about this before. This is very reminiscent to me, because I'm older than you guys. This moment in American history is very, very much like 1980 when Reagan took over for Jimmy Carter. I did my podcast yesterday on remembering Jimmy Carter and that whole time, because I was in high school and into college at the time. So it was a very significant time for me. This feels very, very much like that. And it was just as big a revolution. And people don't think so because people don't remember. But that change was radical, especially in my mind. There were just things I didn't ever think could happen. I didn't think, So, but not to get back into that, but this is as big a change. And it was in spite of the media back then. But it only lasted as long as halfway through Reagan's second term. And then a lot of the immigration stuff we have because of stuff like that. And then George H.W. Bush took over and just ruined the whole thing. So it depends on what comes after Trump, because Trump is like Reagan was a singular person. Trump is a singular person doing things his singular way.
Yeah.
And he can do this. If anybody can do this, he can, because he is that real. And he is that, this is the way he lives his life. He's a combative guy. And he obviously makes it work. And he obviously convinced the country this is the way we should go, and he can do it. So,
right.
But it's a very singular, specific set of people and set of personalities, put it that way. So, yeah, I really hope you're right, Michael. One day it will be long over. It just depends on who. If we have a George H.W. Bush come along after Trump and go back to the way things were, or try and take us back where things were, I don't know. That could happen. Hopefully it won't.
Let me, before you go, Ben,
go for it.
Hold that thought. I do want to engage this because Joel and I did an episode on Wednesday, and I meditated on some of the things we were talking about then. I don't want to rehash all of that, but Joel, not being a full generation older, but definitely having, a good, I was a little kid. I remember, the Iran hostages. So, but you were more present and more aware of all the details. And so your point of view is more informed than mine, just by virtue of that. In that, some of the differences that we can see. So obviously not knowing what's coming, but my optimism stems from when Trump decided on his VP pick. Because I remember when it was who are the top three? People are saying all these different, candidates for VP. And there was well, he's going to going to pick this person for that reason, or this person for that reason, or minority, or this or that, right? All these political decisions are made based on, which demographic is going to be affected by it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Trump threw all that away, and he picked the most offensive and objectionable person on the list, like a white guy, a Christian, heterosexual, and he's the Trump without the bluster, right? His positions are very, very Trumpian, but he doesn't have the persona, the negative stigma that the media has effectively attached to Trump's persona. Mm-hmm. J.D. Vance, in what I've heard of all the senators that have, heard him and listened to him in the debating, et cetera, in the Senate, was like, yeah, this guy is the most calm, clear-headed, well thought out, and well articulated person I've ever seen in this position. And now he's the vice president. And so as far as President Bush, following in Reagan's footsteps and destroying the coalition, essentially destroying the coalition that Reagan had put together, I think the reverse is like J.D. Vance is the coalition, like it's coalescing around him in the future for at least another term or two after Trump. So that's the hope. Like I'm this optimist. Yeah. It's the hope. So
yeah, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee J.D. Vance is going to be the next president. But yeah, you're right. That is the difference. That is a key difference. You're right.
Yeah. So you both y'all made some great points to the next topic, because here's the thing. This all went down in a matter of a few days. And let me be clear, Musk and Vivek definitely did not put their best foot forward in that virtual town square, but we were able to see it. Everyone was able to see it and chime in. Here's the thing. We, MAGA, we wanted transparency. Oh, you're going to get transparency. But transparency isn't pretty. It's going to be messy. It's going to be bloody. Like metaphorically speaking, it's going to be a fist fight. But that's real open communication. That's real transparency. We knew about this in the moment. And a few days later, as you just saw from Dr. Steve Turley, Musk changed it soon. He's like, okay, hold on. This is what I meant, right? But guess who had no power? This was the beautiful part about all this. Who had zero power? The legacy media.
The media.
They had absolutely no control.
No effect on the narrative. Yeah.
And that was beautiful.
They're in the wrong bar.
Right. Dr. Turley focused on the last part of his video just there. Yeah. But the only thing I have to stress, though, to all conservatives out there, it's very easy to become the very thing that you hate. I can't tell you how many conservative channels I've seen on YouTube that I follow, that I respect. But they were the first ones to come out and say, civil war, betrayal, downfall. It's like, yo, hold on, time out. You are being the spectators to what's happening in this virtual town square without having all the facts. You're just showing what's going to get you clicks. And that's the word of caution that I urge to all of us. On one hand, we're going to get more of this, which is fantastic. On the other hand, independent sources like on YouTube, guys, be careful. Do not fall into the trap that the legacy media did. Instead of waiting for the facts, you just put something out there to get the clicks, get the views. And over time, my worry is to become the very thing you swore to destroy. But that's also, why I like Dr. Steve Turley.
Yeah, we also need to have, because in my view, that's kind of what Vivek and Elon did too.
True.
They put out there, they just immediately reacted and put it out there. And that's the culture we're in, right? Everything we think, everything in our personal lives has to be out for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's a great segue, honestly, to the scripture.
I am the segue king.
Well, let me interject a bit. That tendency, like you're saying, Ben, of when you have a YouTube channel, when you have a successful YouTube channel, when you have a following, you and then you also have the YouTube censors. You start being shaped by the response and reaction. Not saying your core values are changing or anything, but your habits are formed by the response of your audience. You'll see a video, explode. You'll be like, I'm going to talk about that some more. And you may not have until you saw those numbers. So if you're number watching or you're paying attention, so it takes a special discipline to actually ignore those other factors to just have a pure message. And so when you say some of the YouTube, talking heads that you respect, that we all respect, jumping on a bandwagon, 4 clicks, trying to jump in with an opinion to try and be at the front edge. There's a motivation to that, and that's something we have to recognize as something we have to filter and discern. So
and I acknowledge the fact that if you are a full-time independent creator, you need to get the likes, you need to get the clicks to survive. I totally get that, but
clickbait is a real thing, man. Clickbait is a real thing.
That's the ongoing challenge.
It's the reason I was never a successful podcaster. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
I had hundreds of people telling me, Joel, you got to do this. I don't want to do that. Sorry.
Right.
I was a clickbait. Like, I would do it. And sometimes I'd put a topic out there and spin on it. But
And again, I get it. I honestly get it. And it's just a word of caution that I'm saying is, the people in the fight, like Vivek, Musk, Trump, they're the guys duking it out in the town square. The spectators, everyone else, those are the ones that are becoming the new media.
Yeah.
And just what my point is, be mindful. Make a decision. Are you going to go now with big buzzwords to get the clicks? Or are you going to wait for all the facts to come out, like Dr. Steve Turley, and say, here's what's going on? Okay. But let's finish up, gentlemen. There's a ton of verses on this topic, but this one really stuck with me for this. It's a broad topic, but it applies to all believers. So, Joel, if you can do me a favor, and read for me these 2 verses here. This is Zechariah 8:16 through 17.
8:16 through 17. These are the things which you shall do. Speak the truth to one another. Judge with truth and judgment, for peace at your gates. Also, let none of you devise evil in your heart against one another. And do not love perjury, for all these things are what I hate, declares the Lord.
It's very straightforward, very simple, but also very profound. Michael,
Amen.
Your interpretation on this to close us out.
Well, when I saw this, so I do Bible every morning. Most of our audience here are regular attenders of Bible every morning, weekdays right here at This Way Network, and Christian Podcast Central actually is where most of the comments, I send everybody to Christian Podcast Central for the commenting. So those watching here, if you're on This Way Network or Christian Podcast Central, yesterday, Zechariah 8 was in our reading.
Oh, nice.
And, so Zechariah 8 was in our reading yesterday.
Nice when it works out that way.
Well, yes, amen. So, and what we do is we listen to the word. We listen to like 4 or 5 chapters, and then I do commentary to fill out the half an hour. So while I'm listening, I take notes. Verse 16, I noted and emphasized yesterday, and here's my notes from yesterday. Speak the truth. Judge what is true, judge truly. And this particularly resonates with me because the project I'm working on, right, the Soghomon-Tehlirian project, it really is a court case, right? The whole story culminates in a trial, right? And in a trial where you testify and you're supposed to judge truthfully. And so, I get the life story rights to this hero. And before I was given the life story rights to this guy, the son said, I don't like, his father's a hero. He's heard this all his life, blah, blah, blah. And he gets kind of tired of people coming to him to hear about it. And then I show up and he's like, I cannot deny a sincere inquiry as long as he's talking about me wanting to meet him and talk about his father. I cannot deny a sincere inquiry as long as he promises to tell the truth, right? tell the truth. There are things that actually happen. There's ways we can determine it. There's records and documentation. And that's all I wanted to do, was unveil the truth and then speak the truth to one another, judge with truth and judgment. This is courtroom language, judgment, not unequal weights and measures, not a double standard, but no matter how hard it is to testify and rule on something, whether it's against your own interests, we must judge truly, no matter how offensive something is, no matter, like you said, now we have the public square that's instantaneous and all warts and all. We want to be transparent. You're going to see ugly things and you need to parse them out properly. We need to judge fairly and truthfully. And for what reason? To what end? For peace, right? For peace. You have to expose the lies and the corruption and the abuse of power and lawfare, etc., to correct things so that we can have peace and live in harmony. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So,
and I think I agree with that. But what I always say with these Bible verses when it talks about that, this is, I assume Zechariah is speaking to Israel. Here?
It's Judah. He was under King Uzziah.
Judah.
I just figured that out today. He was under.
So this is basic for the house of God, and a lot of things in the New Testament. Paul is writing all those letters to specific churches. So the challenge here, we're talking about our broader culture, but also in the church. This kind of thing is happening in the church too. They have the same online battles are going on, and there's the same overreactions and the same heated. And how is the church going to do this? Because how the church does this to each other within the church, within the body itself, all those verses about love, they're talking about Christians loving other Christians. So the world can see how much we love each other and know that we have something, right? Know that we are from God. So there's the dynamic we've been talking about in our culture, but there's a whole nother dynamic to this within the church that I'd love to get into at some point. So.
Absolutely. Well, and the whole term techno-populism, the word populism is really talking about the big picture of the people having a voice, the people at large contributing to the future. Techno-populism is doing the same thing, but with technology. Hence, this virtual town square.
And it's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Hold on.
Obviously, the good boys agree with that.
Yeah, they are big dogs too.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to my mute button. It won't happen. So sorry.
So the new term is called doggo populism, or all the doggos have it. But whole point of this is to show that we as believers are not outside of this realm. We also fall into this techno-populist world that we're in. And as we become spectators or people in the town square, we need to constantly remind ourselves that we're not just U.S. citizens. We are Christians. We are believers. And there's a higher power above our country, above our Constitution, that rules over all. And with that being said, conducting yourself in this virtual town square, hence, right here. This is how you conduct yourself in a virtual town square. There's many more verses that can tell you how to conduct yourself, but I felt this one did the best job at giving you the foundation to everything else.
It just occurs to me. I mean, this notion of speaking the truth, right? It seems so self-evident. I'm like, well, just speak the truth. But we're tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine, right? Humans want to be accepted. Right? We want to go with the flow. We want to be popular, right? Different things will affect us and influence us not to tell the truth. But it was, I remember Jordan Peterson, and I think God's going to get him. I don't know. He's not judging his salvation, but when he was asked, like, when did you become this way, right? Or why are you the way he said, he's in college. He was kind of a rabble rouser. He was always an intellectual, and he thrived on conflict and controversy and being devil's advocate. And he made a decision one day. He says, I'm going to resolve only to always just tell the truth. And that made him polarizing, and look who he is today.
It makes you dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's a great way to end this, gentlemen. Yeah, this one really weighed heavily on me, so that appears to be a great topic for today. I know week after next we'll come back together again, and I'm sure there'll be a ton more stuff to talk about.
Oh, yes.
Because that will be
2025. 2025 is upon us, and the inauguration. Oh,
we'll see each other again
boy.
on January 17th, just a couple days before inauguration. So yeah,
It's going to be interesting times that we're living in. The old curse. We're living in the old curse.
All right, Patriots, have a wonderful day, guys. That's all we got. Take care. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Later.
God is in control.